Subscribe to our channel and hit the bell icon so that you know when live we go. Hello and welcome to Daily News Simplified. In this session, I am going to take you through today's newspaper, Delhi edition, dated 8th August 2020. We shall take up the articles which are important from the civil service examination perspective. The articles that we shall take up for discussion has been tabulated on the screen and the timestamping for the same has been given in the description section. There is an unfortunate news on page number 1. 15 killed as Air India flight that was coming back from Dubai as part of Vande Bharat mission skids off Calicut airport runway. There is another news article on page number 9 saying that 2011 report had flagged unsafe conditions at Calicut airport. According to an aviation safety report that was submitted to the ministry in 2011, the runway at Calicut was unsafe for flight operation due to inadequate safety area along the runway. Actually, beyond the runway, some area has to be left safe, and that is recommended as 200 meters. And on the side of the runway, at least 150 meter of area should be safe. But at the Calicut International Airport, in this particular runway, only 90 meters of area were safe beyond the runway, and only 75 meter of area was safe on the side of the runway. This was a serious safety concern and it was flagged back in 2011, but no measure was taken to rectify it, the result of which is the unfortunate incident that has happened. From the examination perspective, what you have to learn here is the regulatory bodies which look after the safety in civil aviation sector in India. There are 3 such bodies. First and foremost, the most important, the overarching body is Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Then there are Bureau of Civil Aviation Securities and Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. These 2 bodies work in their small niche area, and most of their recommendations are first taken up by Directorate General of Civil Aviation before getting passed to the Ministry of Civil Aviation. First and foremost thing is, Directorate General of Civil Aviation is a statutory body. This is the nodal body that looks after air safety in India. It also sets the airworthiness standards and it gives the airworthiness certificate to airlines. Most importantly, it conducts the safety audits in India for the civil aviation sector. It coordinates all regulatory functions with International Civil Aviation Organization, which is a specialized UN body formed under Chicago Convention. International Civil Aviation Organization sets up various safety and regulatory parameters, and it gives ranking of various countries based upon conformity with those parameters. Registration of all civil aircraft, licensing of pilots and aircraft maintenance engineers, and the licensing of air traffic controller is all done by Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Remember, previously the licensing of air traffic controller was done by Airport Authority of India. But since 2018, this is done by Directorate General of Civil Aviation. This is important to remember because Directorate General of Civil Aviation works as an autonomous body and Airport Authority of India works as public sector unit. So red flag was raised by International Civil Aviation Organization that licensing must be done by autonomous body, which is Directorate General of Civil Aviation in India. So after that role was taken up by DGCA instead of Airport Authority of India. DGCA is also authorized to conduct investigation into accidents and any incidents that it deems fit. One important function of Directorate General of Civil Aviation is to coordinate at national level the flexi use of airspace by civil and military aircrafts. So DGCA is the most important body in India concerning safety and regulation of civil aviation. There is another specialized body called as Bureau of Civil Aviation Security. And the main responsibility of Bureau of Civil Aviation Security is to lay down aviation security standards for civil flights in accordance to Chicago Convention, in accordance to the regulations laid down by International Civil Aviation Organization. The need of a separate specialized body was felt after many hijacking incidents in 1970s and 1980s. The third body related to safety in civil aviation industry in India is Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau. This was formed in 2011 as an obligation under the Chicago Convention, which requires such a body to be there in every country. It investigates the aircraft accidents and incidents. Basically, it classifies the safety occurrence into accident, serious incident, and incident. It mandatorily investigates into accidents and serious incidents, but it can actually investigate any incident that it wants. This is basically an investigating body that swings into action after an incident happens, so that some learning can be taken after every incident. This also makes some safety recommendation, but that is first forwarded to Directorate General of Civil Aviation, which is the most important body concerning the safety in civil aviation. There is one important body working under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, which is not directly linked with the safety of civil aviation, but this is an important body to be considered because it deals with infrastructure development of airport. It was formed on 1st of April 1995 by merging International Airport Authority of India and National Airport Authority. Airport Authority of India deals with design, development, operation and maintenance of international and domestic airports and civil enclaves. Infrastructure in and around the airport that is dealt by Airport Authority of India. Developing proper runway will also be an important function of Airport Authority of India. It holistically deals with everything in and around the airport like passenger terminal, cargo terminal, the passenger facilities and the information system at the airport, and the operation area like runway, aprons, taxiway, all of it. It is difficult to point out who was responsible for not rectifying the lapse in the runway of Calicut International Airport. Was that Airport Authority of India or was that Directorate General of Civil Aviation? Or the ultimate responsibility should come on Ministry of Civil Aviation. There are two important bodies working under the Ministry of Civil Aviation, although they are not related with safety of civil aviation. One of that body is Airport Economic Regulatory Authority of India. This is a statutory body formed under the Airport Economics Regulatory Authority of India Act 2008. It basically determines the tariff for aeronautical services, taking into consideration the capital expenditure that has incurred, the quality of service being provided, concessions offered by the central government, and the timely investment that has been done in the project. The other body is Commission of Railway Safety. It looks after the safety of rail travel and train operations, but you must remember that it functions under the Ministry of Civil Aviation. For the prelims examination, you must also know Chicago Convention. It is also called as the Convention on International Civil Aviation. This convention established the International Civil Aviation Organization, a specialized agency of UN, and it is charged with coordinating international air travel. The convention establishes rules pertaining to airspace, aircraft registration, safety, security, and sustainability of civil aviation. It also conducts safety audits, and the safety audit conducted by International Civil Aviation Organization in 2018 ranked India one of the lowest in the Asia Pacific region. India's ranking was lower than Myanmar, Bangladesh, Maldives, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, Nepal, North Korea. The chief reason for the low ranking was the neglect of the aviation regulator DGCA. DGCA back then did not use to give license to air traffic controllers. Air traffic controllers are very important officers. They are responsible for smooth working of civil aviation industry. The licensing was given by Airport Authority of India. But this now has been corrected. The license for air traffic controller is now given by DGCA. Indian civil aviation industry is growing at a galloping pace, but the infrastructural development is not matching up that pace. The new civil aviation policy has given more power to the regulators, but more investment is required to develop international standard infrastructure in Indian civil aviation industry. There is a news article on page number 8, Food Vision 2050 Prize for Naandi Foundation. The Rockefeller Foundation has selected Hyderabad-based non-profit Naandi Foundation as one of the top 10 visionaries in the world for Food Vision 2050 Prize. Food Vision 2050 Prize is actually given by a private foundation called as Rockefeller Foundation. It has been formed by Rockefeller family, which was one of the richest family of US and were in oil refinery business. The submission of Naandi Foundation for the prize was based on Arakunomics. Arakunomics has been popularized by the Naandi Foundation as an integrated economic model of agriculture, not farming, agriculture. Naandi Foundation has been working in the Araku region for 20 years. With the help of Naandi Foundation, tribal communities of Araku have shown how food and nutrition for all, profit for the farmer, quality for the consumer, and collateral damage to none is possible. This model has been developed as a tribute to the tribal farmers of Araku region. You must be aware that Araku region is famous for world-class coffee. You see, Araku has been notified as a tribal area with the population of around 0.6 million tribals. It is characterized by extreme poverty, inundation of forest, erosion of soil, high maternal mortality rate, and fragile terrain. Despite this, a success story has come out from the Araku region, so this is worth taking note of. And you can use it as a case study for the 15 marker in the mains exam. The Naandi Foundation has explained how agriculture has become non-remunerative in India and is seen as the neglected sector of our economy. Traditionally, agriculture in India was seen as a culture, a way of life, where people lived in harmony with nature. But with the onset of Green Revolution in 1970s and introduction of minimum support price for paddy and wheat and other high-yielding variety of crops, there was a shift from agriculture as a way of life and local food system to farming as an economic activity, which was exploitative and profit-oriented. And this transition changed the entire food system in our country. The agriculture and food system linkages collapsed, and what emerged was monocropping. And especially monocropping of cash crops like cotton and sugarcane was encouraged. This essentially meant that the traditional knowledge and practices became redundant. Because this is not agriculture anymore. Now what we are doing is farming. And farming is not done in synergy with nature. This essentially means that farmers who were entrepreneurs in charge of symbiotic food system network now will become just an unskilled wage earners. The food system also became dependent on excessive flow of cash, increasing the cost of farming and hence increasing the debt of farmers. To come out of the debt, farmers began growing cash crops even more for quick profits, and this resulted in modern monocrop non-food farming that replaced the biodiverse agricultural practices and resulted in food and livelihood crisis. The lack of biodiversity in food production is causing the masses across the country to have low nutrition diet, which are made available through the PDS system. The depletion of soil due to monocropping, the depletion of knowledge, as well as the inability of the farmers to deal with the challenges posed by the climate change and the pest attack is making farming a loss-making enterprise. And in the coming times, with the depleted soil and scarcity of natural resources and the climate change, which is causing drought-like conditions, the input cost for production of food will further increase. And this will result in more expensive and less nutritious food. And because of all these, the new generation is moving away from farming. There is no entrepreneur spirit left in agriculture anymore. Agriculture is not left. And because of that, there is very little hope for agriculture. Now let us look at the model that Naandi Foundation has developed. Naandi Foundation has termed its vision as Arakunomics. And Arakunomics is explained by ABCDEFGH approach. A is for agriculture, not farming. As we have discussed in detail, the problem began when agriculture was transitioned to farming. So agriculture should be seen as a biodiverse activity which is in harmony with nature, not a monocropping culture. B in the ABCDEFGH approach stands for biology, not chemistry. Till the Green Revolution in India, the approach to agriculture was based on life science, on biology. At the center of it was the use of natural elements, microbes, all of which contributed to the goodness of the soil. It did not deplete it. It was only when we moved from biology to chemistry, started using synthetic fertilizers, we triggered the collapse of the natural symbiotic agriculture system. So we have to move towards natural farming or organic farming. C stand for compost, not chemicals. Composting actually not only increases the soil fertility and obviate the need of chemicals, but it also reduces soil erosion. D stands for decentralized decision making. Nandi Foundation has encouraged compost preparation, biofertilizer spraying, pruning, and harvesting, all in the decentralized manner executed at the farm level in customized manner. E stands for entrepreneur, not subsistence farmer. There must be entrepreneur spirit in the farmers. He should function as an entrepreneur looking for profits, quality in his product, value addition, and ownership. For that, obviously, knowledge seeking and the traditional knowledge of Indian farmers will be helpful. Apart from that, support in terms of finance and resources also have to be provided. F stands for family. Arakunomics encouraged agriculture to become a family enterprise, a family business. It is not something that the son of the farmer should not be looking to be engaged into. Just like other business family, agricultural family must also be making profit and the expertise must be transferred from one generation to another. G stands for global market rather than just seeking the minimum support prices. Nandi Foundation has shown that Araku coffee farmers gets the highest price a coffee farmer gets anywhere in India or the world. Development of that international supply chain is one of the critical element in Arakunomics. H stands for headstand. Headstand basically means that once we are ready to turn around the current approach and adopt the new one, only then the change will come. That's in short what Arakunomics is. You can use these 8 points of Arakunomics when you talk about reform in agriculture. There is an editorial article on page number 6 with the title Alert Amid Uncertainty. There is economic uncertainty world is facing and so is India. In this situation, RBI is being faced by a classic dilemma. On one hand, inflation has increased. The provisional CPI for the month of June is 6.1%, and that has surpassed the upper bound of inflation targeting done by RBI. In medium term, RBI targets to keep the inflation in the range of 4 plus minus 2%. So to check the inflation, the policy rate must be increased by RBI. But on the other hand, there is economic slowdown. Indian economy is expected to contract, and this will happen after many years. After 1978-79, this will be the first instance when there will be negative growth rate. So to bring the economy on track, the policy rate must be decreased. And it is highly contentious as to what stance the central government must take. But if you go to the basics, the most fundamental task of a central bank is to keep inflation at check. And because of that, the RBI has not further decreased the policy rate this time. This whole issue has been very well discussed in yesterday's DNS wide and deep. So we will not do it again. However, we will cover a small topic here. In the editorial, it has been mentioned that there has been deterioration in consumer sentiment. RBI finds out the consumer sentiment through consumer confidence survey. The reason why RBI carries out such kind of survey is that in India, the consumption expenditure accounts for almost 60% of the GDP. And hence it is considered to be a major driver of economic growth and development. And the main driver of consumer expenditure is consumer confidence. If the consumers are optimistic about the current and future economic state of country, then they would spend more, leading to increase in the GDP. On the other hand, if the consumer's confidence is low, then that can lead to decrease in the consumption expenditure and hence GDP growth rate will decrease. That is why there is a need to measure consumers' confidence in the country to understand the prospect of economic growth. So RBI carries out consumer confidence survey. First of all, consumer confidence survey is conducted in 13 major cities. The survey measures consumer perception, both present and future. The perception is measured based on 5 economic parameters: economic situation, employment, price level, income, and spending. The survey has two components, the current situation index and the future expectation index. The current situation index measures the change in consumer perception over an economic issue in the last 1 year, while the future expectation index measures what consumer thinks about some variables 1 year ahead. Let me show you the graph for understanding. This is not important for the exam perspective though. This is the consumer confidence indices. The blue line is future expectation index and the orange line is the current situation index. If you see from March, the future expectation index started to decrease and so did the current situation index. But later from May, the future expectation index started to improve, but the current situation index continues to deteriorate. This means that although there is hope that in future things will improve, but the current situation is very bad. So obviously there will be hesitation on spending. There is a news on page number 5. Project proposals must include drone survey report, says State Wildlife Board. Actually, the Maharashtra state government on Friday has made drone survey and environment impact assessment reports mandatory for projects seeking approval by the State Board for Wildlife. Although environment impact assessment should be mandatory, but the new addition is the drone survey. State governments are well within their rights to impose such conditions for clearance of project. Here we have to know few things. First of all, State Board for Wildlife, it's a statutory body. Now you have to tell me under which law they are formed. State Board for the Wildlife is headed by the Chief Minister and Forest Minister of the state act as the Vice Chair. In the recent meeting, the State Board for Wildlife has cleared the proposal to declare Soneratia alba as the state mangrove tree. And with this, Maharashtra has become the first state to have a state mangrove tree. The State Board for Wildlife of Maharashtra also has approved a recovery program for Arabian Sea humpback whale. Few things you must know about Arabian Sea humpback whales. Number one, it is the only non-migratory population of humpback whales in the world. They are mostly sedentary. They don't migrate much. They live and eat almost in the same area. Their highest number, although very less than 100, is found along the coastal waters of Oman. The satellite tracing has shown that these species migrate from the Oman coast through Arabian Sea and along the Indian coast they go down till Sri Lankan coast. But their distribution throughout the Arabian Sea is not very well known. You must also know that recently the Standing Committee of National Board for Wildlife added 4 species in the center's recovery program for critically endangered species. And one of them was Arabian Sea humpback whale. The other 3 being Northern River terrapin, clouded leopard and red panda. There is a news article on page number 9, the return of the Maoist. The issues that have been dealt with in the article already has been discussed in the DNS dated 20th November 2019 by our illustrious Vaibhav sir. In this DNS, the cause and the state responses and the spread of Naxalism, everything was discussed in detail. And also the recent trend of emergence of Naxalism in new areas of Karnataka and Maharashtra. Naxalism, Maoism are important topics to be covered under internal security section of GS paper 3. So you have to have a notes on it. You can take the help of the PDF of 20th November 2019 to make notes for this topic. There are 3 important articles concerning the recent election that happened in Sri Lanka. But the articles in today's newspaper has discussed the internal political situation of Sri Lanka, which is not important from exam perspective. What's important is the significance of the election for India. So perhaps the analysis for this will come in the coming days in the newspaper and then we will take up the issue. Yesterday's question was, the term e-Kuber system, which is often mentioned in the news, can be associated with. The answer is banking. E-Kuber system has been developed by RBI and it gives high degree of access to the commercial banks to their current account with the RBI. Today's question is this. Consider the following statements. Safety audit for civil aviation in India is done by Directorate General of Civil Aviation. Second statement is, India has signed but not ratified Chicago Convention on International Civil Aviation. Select the correct option. one only, two only, both one and two, none of the above. Thank you very much for listening and do not forget to attempt the DNS quiz.